Linsey Denham is Bach flower remedy practitioner, and she is a Bach flower level 1 trainer. And she is here today with us to talk about rescue remedy. Linsey is finishing your experience in 1 year, almost 1 year talking about the flowers, and this just coincides with your presentation of rescue remedy in your website. So I'm very happy that you can be here with us today, and I'm always thankful for your generosity. And well, could you please just share with us your experience with rescue remedy these past weeks?
These past weeks, so I could share about my experience with the rescue remedy these past years. I knew about rescue remedy before I knew about the 38 Bach flower remedies. A friend had recommended rescue remedy, which I'm sure everybody who's watching will know what it looks like, this bright yellow bottle. But I had used it on her recommendation when my children were small and I was losing patience with them, and I was like a mother having a tantrum. The children were fine, but I was having a tantrum at them. So she said to me, Linsey, buy some rescue remedy and use that because it will help. And I wasn't into holistic medicine at that time. I was a nurse and everything was a pill or a surgery. And I remember going to the cupboard and using rescue remedy many times because it lived in the cupboard. And I was never convinced that it worked, or I thought maybe it was because I stopped yelling long enough to go and take it. That was the issue. That was in my head, go take that stuff. And because I went and I detached from the kids, then I was calm when I went back. So I didn't really know that it was that had the power, but I did in hindsight. So my recent experiences with it are, it's our first call of first aid in our head for all of us. If anything happens to my children, they know rescue remedy before they ask me what else to do, because they've grown up with it. They've grown up with it. They've taken it to school with them. They've taken it on vacation with them. They've taken it wherever with them. But predominantly, Dr Bach put these 5 remedies together for times of emergency, for times of great stress. So when someone says to me, oh, it's okay, Linsey, I'm taking lots of rescue remedy, it makes me think, well, why are you taking lots of rescue remedy? Because if you took a remedy mix, then you wouldn't really need your rescue remedy if you were balancing out emotions that are kind of upset with you. Because I believe that the cherry plum, which is one of the remedies in here, it will help everybody. It's the reason it works for everybody, no matter what the stress, because cherry plum is that feeling where you're just going to lose control. The emotion has built up so much that you fear that you're going to lose control. And I think that can come from many emotions, including fear, anxiety, anger, irritation, intolerance, even indecision. If you're trying to make a decision and you can't, and that can also be a pressure. So taking rescue remedy when you're trying to be decisive and you can't make a decision, it won't make you make the decision, but it will bring down that pressure that you were feeling about the decision. So you feel better. So I think cherry plum will always help people to feel calmer. That's what it does. It calms your mind. So it doesn't matter what's going on in your mind, it will calm it. So I think for me, it's not the most important remedy in there, but I think it's the remedy that makes it work for everybody.
Yes, I mean, that spray, that rescue remedy spray, is very useful to have with you every time because rescue is the remedy we take when something unexpected happens to us and we cannot cope with it and we are in shock and we don't know even what we are feeling or how we are feeling. We are completely overwhelmed. And at times I include rescue remedy in the bottle mix, and what happens is that then people are afraid of taking it when we don't need rescue remedy anymore in our bottle mix. People are afraid of stop taking rescue remedy just because of the name, I guess, because it says rescue. So as if rescue remedy is the only remedy that can rescue you. So they say, please, Glenn, don't take the rescue remedy out because I need to be rescued. So in your experience, when, or what can we do, or what can we say, or to take the rescue remedy when it's not convenient to take any longer?
Yeah, I think what you know what people are feeling, I think, is that word rescue. They do need rescued, and I think as practitioners we make up their own personal rescue remedy. I make up people's own personal rescue remedy. It's one that's unique. It's going to rescue you. This one is for rescuing everybody. It will rescue everybody. But if you choose and take a remedy mix for yourself, then you are rescuing yourself by choosing to balance the emotions that are specific to you. Because if you are someone who, we'll go back to indecision, which doesn't sound like a stressful emotion, but it can be for people. So if you're someone who can never make a decision, we have decisions to make all the time, but if you can't make a decision, so you never decide on anything, so nothing gets done because you can't decide, then you're going to be incredibly stressed. So you use your rescue remedy and it makes you feel that little bit calmer, so you think, yes, that's working. But if you put the remedy scleranthus, which is the remedy for indecision, into a mix and took the mix, then it would balance out that indecision. So then you don't need this because the indecision is causing you to be stressed. So once your indecision is balanced, you have been rescued from that indecision and you don't need to rescue. And I think what I find with some clients, especially early, when they come first, is that they can't narrow, they seem to have indecision, they can't narrow down to 6 remedies, or 7 remedies. There's too many. I want 15 remedies in my mix. I want all the remedies in my mix. So rescue remedy always feels like a good thing for them to have. I'll have that as well. But and I'm not averse to putting rescue remedy in someone's mix. I worked in hospitals, and the nurses often would want rescue remedy in their mix because they didn't know what was going to happen on a shift from one minute to the next. So they felt they wanted that just in the mix so that they wouldn't be carrying this around with them as well. So they were kind of having regular rescue remedies throughout the day. But for me, when rescue remedy into someone's mix to help them get it out, we look at the changes in their emotions. And I always suggest that when we can take a remedy out, that I can put maybe the one remedy of, so say it's somebody who's incredibly fearful, they feel terrified a lot of the time. It just so happens it's a bottle of Rock Rose that's sitting beside me. And Rock Rose is one of the 5 remedies. So this person is terrified, and that's why they get relief from the rescue remedy. But they keep being terrified. But when I put this into their mix as a single remedy, they won't need this, because all they need from this is this. So
yes,
yeah.
So we can start talking about rescue remedy as emergency remedies, just for the emergency, just for that time. What happens to me is that I work with people who are suffering, who are in grief, who have lost someone they love, and well, depending on the person, the situation, I include rescue remedy for the first time. And it's very difficult to convince them that they don't need it anymore. We can continue with sweet chestnuts or mimulus, okay, depending on the situation. But it's a very good remedy. So we can start changing the name of rescue remedy to emergency remedy. So it's just for that moment when we collapse.
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Bach called it his crisis for any crisis situation. So he felt that would help anybody who was in a crisis situation. And I think with living and the stresses that people have in life that keep them in this cherry plum, frantic, non-calm mind, once they've discovered rescue remedy, they want to keep using it because it does calm the mind. So, which is wonderful, but it's to encourage people to look at what remedies can help them to balance out on the long term the emotions that are troubling them on a minute-to-minute daily basis. And when it comes to bereavement, rescue remedy, I would say all the remedies in rescue remedy are applicable and can be used in bereavement. And I think one way to get it out of the remedy mix is to say to the people, you can use it additionally. You can use this on top of the mix that we're going to make up for your healing. Because we all, we know about the stages of grief. So there is going to be anger comes in, there is probably going to be guilt, depression, whatever comes in for someone who is dealing with grief. And those remedies are not in here, but this can be used for when the tsunami of emotion hits, so that fear, that terror of being on your own, or that sadness, or the detachment from your body where nothing feels real, which is clematis, which is in there. So all these remedies are very useful. But once the initial stage of grief, that kind of shock is over, then it's looking at how that individual person is dealing with grief, personality type and situation. And, so I think, we gently encourage them to look at how they're feeling and try to help them to take the rescue. For me, in the scheme of things, if they need to leave it in and it makes them feel better, okay. Until you're ready to take it out, that's okay. But, I can tell you each time that I refill your mix that maybe you don't need it in there anymore, and why. But if you still want it in, that's up to you. But I hope that people will reach a point where they think, okay, I don't need that in anymore. But it's I suppose them.
And then rescue remedy, when you don't need it anymore, it invites you to think about how you're feeling and what are your emotions, yes. Perhaps that you were hiding before you needed rescue remedy. So that it demands effort and being in contact with how you're feeling, and that is another challenge. And it's very, very interesting to explore and choose the flowers that you need in the long term, as you were saying.
Yeah. In the long term, it's the best practitioners are the ones who don't want. We don't want you as a client for a long time. We want to give you the teaching so that then you can look at your emotions and know that's the remedy that I need, because I've worked with Belen and I know that that's the remedy that I need, because she told me that's what it's for. So for me, very much it's a teaching process for people, but not everybody is ready to do that. They just want you to make the pain go away and not come back. And I think this feels to them like the pain has gone away, and I don't want it to come back. And I have had that with clients who don't want to give away a specific remedy. If I say to them, are you still feeling that hatred that you were feeling? No. And I'll say, well, we'll take holly out now. And they'll say, oh no, can you just leave it in? Because I don't want to feel like that again. And it's like, okay. And sometimes put it back in because they really are stressing about taking it out. So we'll maybe leave it in for one more mix. And then they're more ready because it's stayed away longer, the balance has been there for longer, and they're ready to give it up. But it's interesting this year. I've even got my yellow sweater on for talking about this.
Yes, I see that. Yes, you have. Yes, a rescue remedy has 5 flowers that are part of the flower essences of Dr Bach, but they act as only one. So it's not the same as if we were taking the 5 different flowers. Rescue remedy is like one flower in itself, isn't it?
rescue remedy is a combination of the 5, and Dr Bach did say if you put it in a mix it only counts as 1 remedy, which is why we can use it for people who want to make a bigger choice. So say they have 10 remedies on their list, but 4 of those remedies are in rescue remedy. It's an easy way to get those extra remedies into someone because it only counts as 1. Rescue, those 5 only count as 1, so you can add it to the 5 they wanted, and then they only have 6. So it is the equivalent of 5 remedies. And Dr Bach didn't say that it worked any less effectively, you know, the fact that it was combined. But as a practitioner, intuitively, I have always tried to, as soon as there's room, to put in the single remedy and rather than the rescue remedy, if it's a case of there's been too many. So once something shifts, you know, and I take a remedy out or 2 remedies out, I try and get the remedies in as singles. But if you were to use rescue remedy like a mix, you know, it would over time balance those 5 emotions, you know, in the same way that a remedy mix would, but only for those 5 emotions. It's not going to work on emotions out with the emergency 5. So, yeah.
It has helped me. Well, now I see people consultations online using Zoom or video calls. But when we could meet each other, some people came and they were feeling very sad. My clients, a glass of water with a little bit of rescue remedy. If when they come, they feel very sad, or they just start crying when they have to start talking about their emotions and they don't know where to start, they start crying. I can't stop crying. So I say, okay, take your time, you need to cry, you need to express something, but if they can't speak, I offer rescue remedy. And when they try the rescue remedy, it's like kind of, okay, this is magical, and that is very helpful to see what is happening with your emotions. And what I've done, I don't know if you've done it too, but when they don't know what's going on with their emotions, I say, okay, why don't you try the rescue remedy, and then you come back. You just take it and see if with after taking the rescue remedy, you can see what is happening to you, and that's been very helpful. But well, I don't want people to get in love with it as if it was the only flower essence that can help them. And it is quite a challenge for me. And people, at least where I live, when they see me, okay, you work with Bach flowers. Oh, rescue remedy. I've taken, and everyone has tried rescue remedy. And okay, well, there are other 38 flowers that you can try, not just rescue remedy. Okay, but rescue remedy was amazing. And they get, all right. So we have a lot to do with rescue remedy. It's amazing, but well, then we have the other variety waiting for us.
Yeah. I think I spoke last time about the, you know, I always think of rescue remedy as being an emergency asthma inhaler. You know, so when someone has asthma, they have we'll pretend this is a preventer inhaler. You know, they take this twice a day, and then this is the emergency that if they have an asthmatic attack, they use this. So when someone is very anxious, you know, they will use lots of this. So for me, when you look at remedies, if someone doesn't have a mixing bottle and they're taking lots of this, it probably means that there's something missing from this. Like there's a remedy needed, because they keep needing to take this. But if they had their preventer bottle, you know, the one that they took 4 times a day, they would use this less and less and less. They would feel they needed rescued less and less and less. And that's just the way it works. Again, I love rescue remedy, and I love that you give it to clients when they come in, because I used to offer it to students also, because sometimes they come in and they're scared of losing control, because maybe they are in an emotional place and they don't want to lose control of their emotions, but the pressure is there. So again, the cherry plum just helps everything to settle down, you know, like, okay. And if that means crying, then that allows them to cry. But it's that tension of not wanting to lose control, fearing that they'll lose control. And I think that's the way it is with lots of people when they go to a therapist or a practitioner of any sort, especially the first time. I don't know that person, I've got to tell them my story, what if I cry? You know, so they have all this pressure. And that's why they get such relief from this when you give it to them, because everything just goes, whoo. And of course, why wouldn't you want that all the time? So I think as practitioners and trainers, we just have to try gently, again and again and again through repetition, to explain the differences. Yes, it's wonderful, I love it. But you know what makes it? If you don't get to that cherry plum state, if you don't get to that fear of losing control, if you just take your preventer, if you just take your mix. So yeah, you know, we're doing a wonderful job. Just trying to share with what we know.
Linsey, this week you started talking about rescue remedy in your website, in your ear experiment with the flowers. And so how is it going? Have you started with your rescue remedy meditation? Are you going to, have you done any rescue remedy meditation already? I haven't checked.
No, remedy, the meditations happen on a Monday, so I will be doing a rescue remedy meditation on Monday, and how that will come out, because they just are given to me to give to everybody else. So so I will be recording a meditation today. I didn't forget to post yesterday, but halfway through it I got distracted, and I'm very good at looking after myself now. Last evening I thought, you can go and you can finish that, or you can sit here and relax. I sat here and relaxed. So for me, that's great progress from who I used to be, and I really embrace that side. So today I have posted just my thoughts around rescue remedy, and Friday is usually about the freedoms that we can have from rescue remedy, but that will probably go on tomorrow, and there'll probably be lots there because there's 5 remedies, so there's a lot of freedom that rescue remedy can give, because you can have relief from all 5 of those emotions. I know that I've already dealt with the emotions individually for the individual remedies as the weeks have gone on. So maybe I need to make it more specific to the emergency situations, but it's always a good reminder for people how much you can use rescue remedy for. You know, it's, you know, even when someone has had an argument with someone, you know, you've had a fight with someone, and it maybe wasn't even a particularly big fight, but you're still feeling it. You know, that's a shock to your system, which Star of Bethlehem will help with. It'll help to, but you know, to go in there and heal that shock so that you don't feel it anymore. So Star of Bethlehem in the rescue remedy goes in and it balances out and releases that shock to your system. It's for the effects of shock to your system, and that will help, of course, with grief and loss. You know, because you've had this loss, which is a shock to you on an emotional and probably a spiritual level as well, and the remedy just goes in there and it gently just gets about its work. And that's the amazing thing about it for me as well, is that it just does it. You know, it's like it just goes in there and you don't have to do anything else except take it. You know, just take it and let it happen. So yeah, it's not that people have to come to us and tell us all their stories. They just have to say how they're feeling. Feel this, and you can say, okay, you've just had a bereavement, let's you start on some rescue remedy. Or you've just had a terrible diagnosis, also a shock to your system, let's get you started on some rescue remedy. And when that shock has settled, let's look at how you're feeling about that diagnosis or this bereavement, or the fact that you didn't get to get into. I mean, that's a shock as well. There's shocks on many levels, even a physical shock. Rescue remedy for a physical shock, Star of Bethlehem will go in and it will help healing that. So, yeah.
Yes, I've tried it too with my
boys.
Although they are for the emotions, they worked very well with some parts of some small injuries. And yes, so
yeah.
So the rescue remedy has 5 essences, Bach flower essences, and they act as one. And So perhaps that one alternative to start to invite people to connect with the flowers is to start talking about the flowers that are in the rescue remedy. And you can start talking about, okay, well, the rescue remedy has this flower, or impatiens, or cherubim, and you can start talking about the flowers so that the person is like kind of listening, and perhaps something rings a bell and they say, okay, well, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that.
When you mentioned about explaining the 5 remedies to people, that is a great way to be able to remove the rescue remedy from their mix, because if you explain impatiens to them and they're not impatient people, and you explain clematis to them and they're not feeling like that, then, you know, and rock rose, they're not feeling terrified. So you explain what that remedy is for and say, well, actually, you don't need that one, and you don't need that one, and you don't need that one. You only need, and maybe it's cherry plum, you only need this cherry plum. So we'll just put in this cherry plum into your mix. You know, so it's quite a, yes, that suggests educating them more about what's in rescue remedy itself and telling them what the individual remedies do. Then they can say, okay, by themselves, I don't need that rescue remedy. I just need that 2 remedies in my mix. Yeah.
Yes, that's very useful. Sure. Yes. So it's a very popular remedy. It's like the name is Bach flowers. It's rescue remedy. It's like kind of synonym. People know the rescue remedy as well as Dr Bach essences, and it's very useful. And very useful to know when to take it and when not to take it, because perhaps if you are taking all the time rescue remedy, it stops the process. But perhaps you don't deal with what you have to deal with. So that is very useful also for people to know. Rescue remedy is for crisis, for emergencies. It's excellent. I've tried it, and well, all the people who know the rescue remedy can recommend it, and it's very useful when it's not. I mean, although it won't make any harm to you, it won't be too beneficial if you don't need it. So it's like
it's like any of the remedies. If you don't need it, it won't do anything. But I think the fact cherry people always feel that benefit, you know, so I think that's the tricky part about explaining. It's not even tricky, that's our education part that we must explain, that the reason you get that great benefit is because you constantly going into that cherry plum state. So what takes you there? You know, is it because you are intolerant? Is it because you are anxious? Is it because you're angry? Is it because you're indecisive? Is it because you're tired? You know, because there's like all these other emotions. And I think if any of them are out of balance by a great deal, then we hit that cherry plum point, which then means, of course, rescue remedy will help us because it's got cherry plum in it. So we'll take it. So it is, yes, it is the remedy for emergencies. And I also take it, though, for when I am driving and someone is too slow in front of me, because I know that my impatience, which has got impatience, makes me up to the cherry plum very quickly. You know, if I'm out of balance in my patience, I hit cherry plum quickly. You know, within 5 minutes of driving, I'm reaching for this, because I think for whatever reason, I quickly go out of balance with impatience, with patience. Patience, you know, only in certain areas of my life. With work, with nursing, I had the patience of a saint. With my children, I had none. You know, they walked along in the same timeline, but in this area, I was like that, and in this area, I was like that. So that's another thing for people to think about is, you know, that.
And I would like to share with the people who are listening to us now what the advice you gave me when you were in, I think, in your Vine week, and you were describing Vine. Although Vine is not in the rescue remedy, but it is. My comment was there, and I was telling you that my daughter was demanding, because we are living this special time with our children, those who have little kids or teenagers at home. perhaps might feel what I'm feeling, and I was telling you, okay, perhaps I can give wine to her in the same way I can say, or I could have suggested, I can give rescue remedy to her. And you said, okay, Belen, I think you need wine. Oh, Belen, you need rescue remedy, not your daughter. And it was like, okay, Linsey, I will. And I did, and it was okay. And then I laughed at me and I said, yes, Belen, you needed wine, you needed rescue remedy, not your daughter. So mothers who are in crisis or who might be losing patience, because when you have little kids, no school, you can't take them anywhere to entertain. It's you are the mother, the entertainer, the teacher, everything, and you collapse from time to time. It's not a little bit every day. You're like kind of how can I cope with this situation? So it's very useful for mothers. So it's you are having problems with your children, experience the remedy first you, and then you can give it to your children. But what you told me, Belen, you need wine, not your daughter. Oh my God. You shifted, you took me out of my railway.
Yeah, and that's only because I experienced myself. I had given it to my daughter and it didn't make any difference to her. And my practitioner friends had said to me, Linsey, you take the wine. And I took it, and it made everything change, because I had been trying to control her. She was just being a normal 2-year-old, but I was trying to control her, and I wanted her to do it my way. So when I took wine and saw that she was her own person and she had her own way of doing things, life just became easier. And I think for mothers, that's what I wish for the mothers of the world, is that their lives were easier. And it's my demographic, if you like. It's mothers that I have the experience of being one, of the experience of being one without remedies and with remedies, and I know the difference. So for me, it's trying to help those mothers who are, smiley face and pretending to the outside world that they, everything is great in their world. They're healthy, husband's good, nice home, whatever. But meanwhile, that's not how they feel. They're feeling terrible. They're hiding it all inside, and their mental health and maybe their physical health, like mine, will deteriorate, and they're not coping. And it is motherhood, but looking back, it's a wonderful opportunity to learn about yourself. It gives you this gift of, if you're willing, because it's not easy, of looking at yourself and, why, the way that your emotions are and which ones, how can you be a better version of yourself, the one that you want to be, not the one you think you should be, because that's a problem. The shoulds are a problem, but, the who are you, like, inside of that mother, who are you? And yes, you want the best for your children. So how can you be that person? And use the flowers to get there. Use the flowers to help you to be the person you are, that's maybe hidden under all the stress you're feeling. So
yes,
and rescue remedy can help.
Yes, with these coming months that we don't see any, at least where I'm living and in Argentina, and the situation seems to be the same for the rest of the year as regards children at home. So it's a very good remedy, rescue remedy. Just take it and then examine how you're feeling. And I invite mothers and fathers to take the remedy because I'm receiving messages saying, okay, what can I give to my son? What can I give to my daughter? And I'm doing what you did with me. Okay, why don't you take it? And that's how it works. But when you are in the situation with all worries and you are tired, people have to work from home lots of hours and long days with their children, and it's very difficult to find that moment to stop and see how you're feeling. So rescue remedy can be a great choice for those moments.
Definitely, it can be a wonderful relief and will help, because that cherry plum will just bring that you know, that fear of losing control, where you might smack your child, or you might yell at them, or you might, you know, which, you know, happens. But if you're like me, I hated myself when those moments happened, you know, and then I would feel guilty for them. So I couldn't let go of the guilt. So I was feeling guilty for normal emotions because I thought I shouldn't have them. I should be this perfect mother. I should be able to do this. And we, you know, parenthood is a wonderful, as I just said, you know, it's like motherhood is a huge, beautiful gift, but it's hard work, you know, because most of us have not looked at ourselves as people, individuals, before we have our children. So we take that into motherhood, and then, oh gosh, you know, like I'm quite impatient, or I'm quite stuck in my ways, or I'm quite controlling. You know, how do you change that when you've now got a child to look after? You know, like, you don't want them to be like that. You don't want to be like that with them, but that's who you've always been, but you didn't know it until your child came along. So, yeah. We could have a whole, we could have a whole series of talks on parenthood and motherhood, because it's just such a oh, there are no words.
Yes, and this time, well, I don't know how the situation in Canada with children now, if they are in school, if they could start. Classes have not started, so we have, and classes usually finish in December. In Argentina, I think in Latin America it's very similar, and no classes until December. I don't know how classes can be like if they started tomorrow, because they are talking about very strict protocols. So I'm not a fan of starting classes. Okay, please open schools now, because I don't like the protocols, or what we are offering is confusing, especially for little children. So what I feel is like we have to learn how to live with the situation for a while, and it's very good, useful invitation to discover how you are through the relationship with your children. And if you want, you can start not solving, but what is the word? You can start exploring. Yes, exploring how you are and how you behave. Just wanted to mention something else about rescue remedy. So it's that we can get the rescue remedy spray in Argentina. We have it. We don't have the rescue remedy plus the white chestnut. We talked in our previous video, but we can get the rescue remedy spray, and we can get in the mix, and we can also get the bottle of rescue remedy. So we don't take it in the same way we take the other essences, the other Bach flowers. We take 4 drops of rescue remedy in case people have the bottle, and in the spray you take it twice. You do it in the same way.
Yes.
So that is the how you take the rescue remedy in case people want to get the bottle. But can I come back them? That people, that people can take in case they want to get the rescue remedy bottles to have them at home and prepare their own mix. They have an idea of how to use it now, and the great opportunities that rescue remedy offer us.
Yeah, and if someone does want to just take the rescue remedy itself, they can still use the rescue remedy, but put it in a mixing bottle. They just need to put drops of the neat drops into the mixing bottle and fill it up with water, and use that 4 drops 4 times a day. It's a more economical way of using the rescue remedy. So rather than using 16 drops from this bottle every day, you're only using 4 drops of it every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how often you're using it. So it is an economical way to give it, and it's also a way that you can give it to someone else as a gift if you don't want to pay for the full rescue remedy, and it's someone that you love and they trust. You could make them up a little blended bottle that just has rescue remedy in it and say, try that, that might help. So.
Yeah, so for parents, if you have a mother or a father, I mean families close by, a rescue remedy can be a great gift for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And also for the children, that if you put it into a mixing bottle to give to your children, then they don't taste the alcohol that's in the neat drops. You know, so the yellow bottle drops are made in alcohol. So if you put 4 drops into a mixing bottle and fill it with water, then it tastes pretty much like nothing, especially if you add it to a drink after that. So, yeah.
So, Linsey, where can people find you? I invite people, as when I did it in our previous conversation, to go into your Facebook page, what you are doing about the remedies. You've been describing the remedies, 1 remedy per week, and I invite people to go there, listen to the meditations, the description, and all the information you've prepared. It's inspiring. It has helped me a lot as a practitioner too. We are all the time learning from experience.
Yes.
And you've shared with us so much information, and you've been so generous that I invite people to go there to explore the remedies. And although perhaps as a practitioner you know them, but you get something new, or a perspective, or a comment, or something you will get from each remedy. So can you please tell us what is the name of your website, your Facebook, and Instagram, so that you say it? I know them, but you invite us.
I know, it's quite long, and I invite you. My Instagram is very short. It's just Batch Magic. So you'll find me Batch Magic on Instagram. My Facebook page is a bit longer because it's just what my first website was called. So it's batchflowerconsultsonline.com. So it's the full handle for the Facebook page. And my new website doesn't have as much information as I would like, but it's on my list of things to get going on 21. So that's just linseydenham.com over there. And there was something I was going to say. Oh, my experiment finishes next Wednesday. So that's the 30, it was actually probably 3 weeks actually in total, because I used Willow for 2 weeks. So it put me back a week. But I was debating what I'm going to do next. And I think I'm usual suspects for a certain situation. So each week I will discuss a situation where various remedies can be helpful, and I'll kind of chronicle it day by day and do a meditation around that situation. So I think that's for the rest of the year. I think that's what's happening.
Oh, that's great news, because I was going to miss you. When you were reaching Rescue Remedy, I was very happy for you because you were finishing your year project. I said, okay, I will meet Linsey every week, or at least every while, sharing your experience with the remedy. So that you're making me very happy right now.
Good, I'm glad.
So, and you are very clear when you explain for practitioners and for people who don't know about the flowers and want to start learning about them, and it's a very good invitation to see how the flowers are used in everyday situations. So it's for everyone.
Yeah.
You've been so generous, Linsey, to share all your knowledge with all of us. So I've always been very, very thankful for that.
Well, I'm very grateful that you invite me, because I will talk about remedies to whoever will listen. So I'm always grateful when you invite me to share, because I love to do it. So,
well, thank you very much, Linsey. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and to ask all my questions, and you answer all the comments. So if you leave a comment in any flower, Linsey will go there, as if I did when you were talking about vine, and I left the comments about my daughter, and you said, and then you go and take it. And I couldn't see it. I was so much in the situation that I couldn't see my own limitation with was having with the relationship at that moment. It was like 2 months ago, or 1.5 months ago. So So go to the Facebook page or to the website, leave a comment, and we all learn through experience and sharing and talking about what we love in this emotions and managing emotions and helping ourselves with the flowers. So thank you very much, so much, Linsey.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Bye now. Bye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.